أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. My dear brothers and sisters, I am welcoming you again to our sitting on the understanding of the creedal beliefs of the Muslims, as written in my compilation, Tauheed Allah بالعبادة وأهميته. That is this book. I am undertaking the translation of the book by myself, and this will be episode 23. This will be episode 23 from page 26. Those of you on WhatsApp, and go and open the book. The soft copy is there, pasted in WhatsApp. رب اغفر لي وتب علي إنك أنت التواب الغفور. اللهم يا رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير، فهب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. In the last sitting, we spoke about how the idolaters in the past used to forfeit their idols when they had problems and ask Allah, their creator, to solve problems for them. While in our own time now, the idol worshippers of our time, and even among those who say that they are followers of Islam, but are still bent on one type of shirk or another. Whenever they had problems, they don't ask Allah to remove it. Instead of that, they go and have dealings with Satan. They have dealings with devil. Therefore, in continuation of what we have been saying, now on page 26 of the original Arabic book, under the symbol captioned فاو تقسيم واحد تقسيم واحد تقسيم ثلاثة تقسيم زاي, I say ولهذه الحقيقة الواقعية it is based on this positive de facto reality. كان من الخطأ أن يعرف التوحيد في الإسلام. It will be an error to define Tauheed of the Islamic theology as merely being بأنه الاعتراف بأن الله وحده خلق العالم, restricted to admitting that Allah alone created the universe. This one is an error to think that monotheism in Islam is just the belief in the creatorship of Allah to everything in existence. فيكون لفظ الجلالة Allah بمعنى الخالق, so that the word of majesty Allah will accordingly only mean the creator. Allah is not meaning the creator at all. هذا غلط بين. This is an obvious error. لأن القول بوحدانية ذات المقدسة, because talking about the oneness of the Almighty Divine Being وأفعاله تعالى, as well as the deeds of the Divine Being, إنما ذلك تعريف للتوحيد الربوبية فقط فحسب. That one is no more than the definition of unifying the Lordship in Him alone. But that is not good enough to say that Allah means just the creator. To now say that a person who believes in the creatorship of Allah is a Muslim, well, you know that many people die and Muslims will refuse to observe Salatul Janazah on him, inasmuch as that person has not been known to them as performing the obligatory acts of Islam like Salat and Sawm in Ramadan. وَلِأَجِلِ إِزَالَةِ الشُّبْهَةِ, therefore, for the purpose of removing suspicion, لا بد أن يقال عند إرادة تعريف الجامع الشامل لماهية التوحيد عموما. It must be said on wanting to have a comprehensive, broad definition for the essence or nature of Tauheed, the Islamic theology, generally, بأنه اعتقاد كون الله في ذاته وأفعاله واحدا لا يتعدد. That it means a religious conviction about Allah in His divine being and His divine deeds as one in number, not many. ومتفردا باستحقاق كل أنواع العبادات, alone deserving all types of devotions. من أفعال الناس, such that emanates from the actions performed by people. Whatever people do should display their belief in the oneness and unity of Allah. They are to dedicate everything in service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمُنْفَرِدًا بِحَقَائِقِ أَسْمَائِهِ وَصِفَاتِهِ, and that also He is without parallel in the realities of His names and attributes, التي ثبتت له بالكتاب والسنة, such that are certainly confirmed for him in both Kitab and Sunnah, both Quran and authentic Hadith. Al-Quran and the authentic Hadith are the only sources of our creedal belief in Islam. It is when we come to the laws, Sharia, that there are some other resources like our own understanding to make analog events that are new in our own time. We will look for what resembles it in the events of the Prophet ﷺ, so that we will give the same judgment to that one. That one is in Sharia. As far as Aqidah is concerned, Aqidah does not change. Aqidah, the creedal beliefs of the Muslims, do not change, because no Muslim will ever tell you that you can bend towards devil. As you are worshipping Allah, you can also have a dealing with Satan, have a trick to display, so that you can have your way in succeeding in the worldly life. What is the worldly life? What is it? It is meaningless. If you want to worship Allah, then Allah already told you, Udkhulu fi silmi kafa. You are to totally embrace the tenets of this religion as far as the creedal beliefs are concerned. There is no shortcut to the creedal belief. You are to believe as Al-Quran and Hadith put everything down for us. Let us undertake another symbol on page 27, wherein I say, Faw Taqsim Wahid, Taqsim Wahid, Taqsim Talata, Taqsim Haw, by saying, Wa khulasatul qawli في هذه المسألة الرئيس. The summary of the doctrine we are trying to display under this important issue, that is the main point. أن التوحيد الذي به جاءت الرسل عليهم السلام is to say that the exact Tauheed which the messengers alayhimus salam have brought, ليس هو لأجل أن يقر الناس بتوحيد الربوبية وحده, is neither for the purpose of making people admit only the unification of Lordship in Allah alone. وَلَا لِسُؤَالِ عَنْ هَلِ اللَّهُ مَوْجُودٌ, nor for the purpose of asking whether God, Allah, is existing, أو غير موجود, or that He is not existing. No. Tawheed brought by the prophets is not for that purpose. There is no need of asking whether Allah exists or not, because nobody will ever say that He has created Himself. هذا يعرف في علم الفصاحة والمعاني بأنه لازم لفائدة. Such assumption is known in the science of eloquence and rhetoric that it is an intro benefit, that is, unnecessary information, adding no value to the issue. فاستغنى أبناء آدم عن مثل هذه الترهات. And so Adamites stand not in need of this type of trifles, that is, that which are a hoax, useless thoughts. What are you going to gain from thinking whether Allah exists or not? You gain nothing. فإن الأنبياء إنما دعوا الناس إلى الإقرار بإلهية الله وحده. Why should it be so? That is because the prophets have only invited people to acknowledge the godhood of Allah alone, instead of idolatry that some were practicing. You know, when our first father Adam died, his children continued to worship Allah alone. And then in the course of time, some of their offspring started digressing. And so Allah sent so many prophets and messengers to come and tell people that the worship of other than Allah is not the purpose of our existence. فتضمنت رسالتهم وجوب القيام بالعبادة الفعلية لله عز وجل. And thus, the message of those prophets contained the necessity of rising up to the actual devotions of worship, performance of worship in adoring the majestic Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa ifradahu biha, as well as their message contained the necessity of making people devotedly single Allah out with worship. That is the main message brought by the prophets, that people should worship Allah alone and abstain from worshipping other things. فإذا جعل الإنسان مراد التوحيد هو مجرد الاعتقاد أن الله وحده خلق العالم ويتصرف فيه. Therefore, if a person makes the purpose of Tauheed in Islam the mere vague conviction that Allah alone created the world and that He alone is the one controlling the world, that Allah alone is the one controlling the world, without him worshipping Allah, فَقَدْ جَعَلَ مَعَنَا لَفْظِ لِجَلَالَةِ اللَّهِ هُوَ مُجَرَّدَ الْقَادِرِ عَلَى الْاخْتِرَاعِ. That kind of a person has taken the word of majesty Allah for merely meaning the one capable to invent, the one capable of invention, the one able to invent and create. بدلا من اعتقاد وجوب توحيده بأفعال الناس, instead of compulsorily believing that people should unify Allah with their actions. من حيث إنه تعالى الذي تصدق فيه صفة الألوهية, inasmuch as Allah in His majesty is the one whom the attribute of Godhood fits. The attribute of Godhood is only suitable for Allah. فهو إذن المستحق وحده للعبادة. So, He is therefore the only one entitled alone to being worshipped. فقيل له الله. Thus, He has been called Allah, the one who solely possesses divinity. When you say Allah, it means the one who alone possesses the position of divinity. Nobody put Him there. He has been there before creating anybody. Wow. When you say Allah, ay al-ma'luhu al-haqq, it means the one that is truly adulated, the true adulated one, the one that is to be truly worshipped. وإنما قالت الأنبياء عليهم السلام لأممهم. Going back to the source of what we are saying, we find that in fact the prophets عليهم السلام have only told their communities ما حكاه القرآن الكريم عن كل واحد منهم, what the noble Quran quoted each of those prophets as saying that, according to Surah Al-A'raf, in many verses of Surah Al-A'raf, verse 59, verse 65, verse 73, verse 85, and so on and so forth. And that is in a single chapter of Quran. While the same message is spread all over the pages, the verses, the chapters of Al-Quran al-Karim, Allah Ta'ala says particularly here that every prophet told his community, U'ubudullah, you people should worship Allah. Ma lakum min ilahin ghayruh, because you have no other deity deserving worship. You don't have any other object of worship besides him. ولهذا قال الله تعالى, this is exactly the reason why the Almighty Allah has said in Surah An-Nahl, Quran chapter 16 in verse 36, that وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا, verily we have sent among every religious community a messenger, أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ, proclaiming to them that you people should worship Allah alone and avoid all devil, avoid all false deities. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ هَدَى اللَّهُ, therefore of people on receiving that message, there were some whom Allah guided to use their common sense and worship Allah alone. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ حَقَّتْ عَلَيْهِ الضَّلَالَةُ, while some of them were those upon whom the destiny of straying was justified. فَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, therefore you who are still living should travel through the land. فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ, and see for yourselves what was the end of those disbelievers. What was their end? May Almighty Allah enable us to have a good ending in this world. Well, let us add another symbol. فاء تقسيم واحد تقسيم واحد تقسيم ثلاثة تقسيم طا, and that is on page 28. We have finished page 27. Let us come to page 28 to go ahead further explaining under that symbol. I say here, هذه حقيقة التوحيد في شريعة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. What we have said is the reality of Tauheed, monotheism, in the Sharia law of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فمن خلال ذكر مكانة توحيد الألوهية بين أنواع التوحيد أو أقسامه, thus within the mention of the position occupied by Tauheed, Tauheed al-Uluhiyya, unification of Godhood in Allah, among all types and divisions of Tauheed. قد تبين أن من لم ير هذا الرأي. It has become clear that anyone who has not perceived this view, as mentioned, هو الذي يحصل منه تقرب إلى الله بغير ما أراده الله من العباد, is the one from whom shall ever occur such habits of cheekily approaching Allah with other than what Allah wants from people. You are to worship Allah through the message He sent. That is why you say La ilaha illallah and you append it with Muhammadun Rasulullah. If you only say La ilaha illallah and you don't follow the method of worship brought by the prophets and messengers, then you are on your own. You are not to worship Allah according to your own vain desires. You are to worship Him according to the laid down regulations. A person who does not understand what Godhood of Allah stands for will be practicing Islam abnormally, worshipping Allah with other than what Allah Ta'ala has regulated. أو يتقرب إلى غير الله بأنواع العبادات التي هي حق خالص لله وحده. Or such person will be seeking favor of other than Allah with all types of devotions such that are a pure right of Allah alone. Because as you know, we Muslims always correct one another whenever any of us are ascribing, allotting, attributing to fellow human beings or angels or jinns or any other object something that belongs to Allah alone. What belongs to Allah should not be given to any creation. وهو مع ذلك يزعم أن فعله ليس بشرك البتة. That clarity notwithstanding, a person who worships Allah with other than what Allah prescribed, or is given to other than Allah some peculiarities of Allah, would hold on to the claim that his action is definitely not a polytheist one in any sense. Is it that no, he's not worshipping other than Allah? You know, whenever you question some people who are practicing some shirk, you say, no, what we are doing is not shirk. This one is not shirk. Why are you people turning Muslims into infidels? Let people enjoy their life. Let them do the way they want. Do you want them to do things the same way you understand it? Let them do their things according to their own understanding, not according to what you say Allah and the messenger have dictated بدعوى أنه لا يعتقد أن غير الله خلق العالم. When you confront this type of person, he will refute what you are saying under the pretext that he does not believe that other than Allah has created the universe. You tell him, what you are doing is shirk now. How can you observe Salat and then still go to have a conclusion that you will ask to protect you? They know that does not mean. That does not mean. Does not mean. Then it means it is shirk. When you ask other than Allah to protect you, you are practicing shirk. You say, no, that one is not shirk, because I believe that Allah alone is the creator. بل وأن هذه واسطة كمثل شفعاء الأولين. Even he will rather also tell you that what he is doing is just a means that should be measured like the mediators held by the ancient communities. That the people who had died also had some ways that they practiced that made their life to be good. So he's doing the same thing. Then why are you condemning him? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He said what is just a means of achieving his goal. He believed that Allah alone is the creator. Why are you now condemning what he is doing? You don't have to condemn. People in the past did the same thing and they enjoyed their life. Are you saying that Allah did not accept from them? Are you the judge? That is the way he will accost you. And وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. As in Surah Yusuf, Quran chapter 12, in verse 106, most of people believe not in Allah the way they should, except that they would still attribute partners unto him in one way or another through the displaying of polytheist acts in what they do and what they say. وَلَيْسَ ثَمَّةَ بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا الضَّلَالُ. Child, there is not after the truth but error. May Almighty Allah enable our people to refrain from practicing polytheism. And we who are trying our best, may Almighty Allah let life be easier than it is for us. May Almighty Allah endow on us the means of worshipping him. May Allah never let us be in need of other than him. Fala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Here I am pausing. Next, we are going to start another matter of discussion, inshallah, when we will be going for al-mas'alatu rabi'a, the fourth matter for debate, inshallah, and that is on this page that we post now, page 28, by the special grace of Allah. Till then, I entrust you in the hands of Allah. May Allah spare our life beyond that time. Ameen, summa ameen, summa ameen. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.